Pictures came in today of a 160-second handshake and an icebreaker that nobody really expected on the sidelines of the biggest climate summit in the decade. There's a 160-second exchange on the line of that on the sidelines of that summit between Narendra Modi and Nawaz Sharif. Does this mean that India is ready to give Pakistan a second chance? Nawaz Sharif, who last weekend hinted at dropping any preconditions for future talks with India, seems to have buckled. But before any possible talks at the summit, back home, the 160-second video was being discussed in great detail. And quite a lot of cynicism, especially by the Congress party. Before we debate the icebreaker, whether this was an icebreaker or just another photo op, and whether the Congress party overreacted, let's take a look at three of the reactions that came in from the Congress party today. Ambika Soni, I think the Indian government raises their hopes every time. I find it hard to believe that Nawaz Sharif will meet Prime Minister Modi and say that he can assure him. Randeep Surjewala, it should not be about photo ops and selfies, but has to be more meaningful with an architecture for talks. And finally, after that, Ashwini Kumar, as long as Pakistan keeps pushing terror into India, there is no point in holding talks with Pakistan. Let's go straight to our panel tonight. And with me is Maroof Raza, Pavan Verma of the JDU, Sambit Patra of the BJP, C R Kesavan of the Congress party. By the way, Mr. Kesavan, there was a lot more said by one of your other party spokespersons, Brajesh Kalappa, at 7 p.m. was on Newshour, said, huge U-turn. What a U-turn by the government. One day we talk, one day we don't. There's firing and death on the border. Despite that, we are speaking to them. We, the Indian National Congress, expect nothing but a muscular response. What was that?
Arnab.
No, what's it? Mr. Kesavan.
Yeah, Arnab.
No, Mr. Kesavan, understand.
Yeah.
Without knowing what the meeting was about, without knowing the content of the meeting, you go and make these series of comments. And today you have to explain whether you overreacted, jumped the gun, etc. And if you wish to clarify or take your position back and you want to do a U-turn on the program, tonight you're free to do so. Mr. Kesavan, maybe that's better at this stage.
That is the prerogative of the BJP, Arnab. First thing is, this is a foreign policy debate. I don't want to slugfest. I want to make my points without interruption and also in peace. See, the first point is, it is inevitable that you need dialogue with Pakistan, and as far as Pakistan is concerned, transiting parties, we need to speak in one voice against terrorism. But having said that, the issue with this government, has been that it has not anticipated Pakistan's intent well, and they've always provided them a platform, be it UFA, and embarrassed India and also conceded ground. And I think, without sounding very critical, I'd like to say that the BJP government's policy has not been just incompetent, it's incoherent and also inconsistent. And, just take...
You jumped the gun. Sorry. No, Mr. Kesavan. Mr. Kesavan, two leaders. Sorry, Mr. Kesavan, sorry. No, Mr. Kesavan, I will have to interrupt you. No, I have to interrupt you.
You won't listen to anything.
No, I have to interrupt you. No, I have to interrupt you. Just give me. No, I don't want 160 seconds. I want 10 seconds.
Give me a minute. I'll take
No, Mr. Kesavan, two leaders sitting on a sofa.
Let me make my statement. If you interrupt a flow of thought, you're not being fair, Arnab.
Flow of thought is okay. Maybe you jumped the gun. Just tell the viewers of Newshour I jumped the gun.
Properly.
Tell the viewers of Newshour Congress party jump the gun.
Any grandstanding. India has not been able to read. The BJP government in the past 18 months has not been able to read the schizophrenic.
That's not the point. Why did you jump the gun today?
Pakistan. See what? See what did you do today? Did in Nawaz Sharif did in October 1st.
You messed up.
He said India is fomenting instability.
No, but you messed up.
He compared India with Palestine, and now the important.
No, but Mr. Kesavan,
Mr.
Kesavan, you're getting confused.
The important part is that the Indian government has always failed to anticipate the Machiavellian manipulation of the Pakistan government. That is the fundamental. You have been duped and deceived by their dubious intent. And let me tell you, after UFA, give me a minute, please.
Mr. Kesavan, every time you're asking for a minute now, please stop.
As soon as UFA, please let me complete. As soon as UFA happened, Sartaj Aziz before the intrigue dismissed it. And then you had Gurdaspur attack on July 27th, where we lost lives. You had Udhampur on August
15th. Mr. Kesavan, now please. Please yield. Please yield, Mr. Kesavan. Please yield. Mr. Kesavan, please yield. Please yield.
The BJP government embarrassed us.
Mr. Kesavan, now yield.
Trying to say is this.
Don't rush into photo opportunities and don't rush into hollow hypes because you'll end up in the country like you've been doing in the last 18 months.
Have you finished, sir? Have you finished, sir? May I please now? Please. And by the way, for all our viewers, Aditi Anantanarayan has scooped an exclusive with Nawaz Sharif that's going to be played in some time. Now, Mr. Kesavan, I'll say something and you don't interrupt me. And I think we'll open up. One minute. You see, Mr. Kesavan, the Congress party should be the last party in the world trying to read too much into a 160-second sofa conversation between Modi and Sharif, or because you have gone on record today suspecting a possible compromise. I'll tell you what a compromise is. I'll tell you what a compromise is. A compromise, Mr. Kesavan. I'll tell you what a compromise is. Mr. Kesavan, I'll tell you what a compromise is. Have the courage to listen, that Sambit will respond. The appearance of the word Baluchistan in a joint statement in Sharm el-Sheikh 8 months after 26/11, that's a compromise.
I don't think Sambit needs to respond.
Manmohan Singh referring to Yusuf Raza Gilani as a man of peace, that's a compromise. An implication in the joint statement in Sharm el-Sheikh that Pakistan is a victim of terrorism, that's a compromise. You jumped the gun today.
You are red-faced and
Sambit, respond. Sambit on the other side today. Sambit, what's going on? Sambit, you got... Sambit, the question being asked to you is... Sambit, what was this Modi-Sharif meeting about? What happened?
Arnab won't interrupt you so you can speak.
What happened? 1 second. Kesavan. Mr. Kesavan. 1 second. Mr. Kesavan. Now, what was the need for this meeting? Sambit Patra, what is the need for the meeting? What happened in that meeting? What happened in the course of the 167 conversation? Was it about climate? Was it about terror? Was it about Kashmir or what? What did Sharif say when he was responding to the Indian Prime Minister? Now, end the suspense.
No, Arnab, number one, we all know, we are aware of the fact that the Prime Minister has gone to Paris to address the climate change. We have the COP21 meeting going on out there. Naturally, there are lines drawn between the developing nations and the developed ones. Strategies are being built out. So if the Prime Minister meets with the Prime Minister of the neighboring country, probably strategizing, how does the Congress party know what was going on in those 160 seconds? Did they have Manishankar Iyer and Salman Khurshid behind the sofas? If they had Manishankar Iyer and Salman Khurshid behind the sofa, they should tell us that Manishankar Iyer and Salman Khurshid were eavesdropping. They were listening to what was happening between those two. That's the only probable way, looking at the hyperbolic way in which the Congress party was interjecting. The moment we saw those pictures, probably I believe that was the only answer, that they had Manishankar Iyer and Salman Khurshid there. And diplomacy is a very mature and serious business.
Why did you fail?
One should not, Mr. Kesavan.
Mr. Kesavan, you jumped the gun today.
Don't
accept
like
it.
this.
Mr. Kesavan, you jumped the gun.
Please, Mr. Kesavan, this is a mature business. This is a mature business. This is a serious business. We are having serious
Maroof and Pavan Verma.
Look at Mr. Kesavan.
Why didn't you read Sartaj Aziz? We are saying because...
Where does the UFA come in over here? Now, do you have a press release? Mr. Kesavan? Has the MEA come up with any kind of press release? Do you have a statement from any country? If you do not have any statement, if you do not have any press release, what kind of inferences have been drawn by you? And who forced you to draw these inferences? Why no patience? Why draw domestic politics everywhere, Mr. Kesavan? Why draw domestic politics everywhere? You were the one who were attacking Bharatiya Janata Party when we had exposed the Pakistani vote.
Okay, 1 second. Pavan Verma and Maroof Raza. Now this big suspense. Take the pictures full frame on the screen once again, please. What happened in Paris today was very interesting. There's been tension over continuous ceasefire violations by Pakistan. Today, Modi meets Nawaz Sharif at the Conference of Parties, COP21 Climate Summit. Both leaders shake hands. And then there is about 160-minute, fairly convivial, fairly intense conversation that is going on between both sides. Pavan Verma, at this point of time, did the Congress party jump the gun by saying two leaders sitting on a sofa speaking for 160 seconds? This is the revival of the direct bilateral engagement. India has compromised. This is a U-turn. We need a muscular foreign policy. I mean, is there a need for the Congress party to react like this? I mean, despite your political alliance with the Congress, despite the fact that you are in government in Bihar together, Mr. Pavan Verma, maybe you would like to take a clear and neutral position on this subject tonight. Mr. Kesavan, by the way, don't feel everybody is against you. Somebody is making a point on whether you did jump the gun. That's okay. It's a question.
No, I'm just saying.
No, it's a question.
Calibrated Pakistan policy. Don't be inconsistent.
All right, Pavan Verma. Pavan Verma. Pavan Verma.
Terrorism.
Pavan Verma. Please, Pavan Verma.
There won't be talks in the shadow of terrorism.
Right, Pavan Verma.
Has there been a thaw?
Pavan Verma, please. Pavan Verma, please.
Arnab, the fact that Prime Minister and Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif met, we await further details. It seemed to be a scheduled, unscheduled meeting on the sides of the Paris conference. It lasted very briefly. We would like to know the details. But I am saying to you, and this is something I ask you also, I ask Sambit also, the relations with Pakistan have gone through the entire gamut, Arnab, from Jhappi to Kutti. We had the situation in Ufa,
Yeah.
where we had a declaration.
Yeah.
That was derailed. But before Ufa, remember, Arnab, Sushma Swaraj, as External Affairs Minister, said there will be no interaction with Pakistan until those responsible for 26/11 will be brought to book.
Okay.
But immediately thereafter, we have Ufa, we have a declaration. That declaration is then stopped because of the meeting with the Hurriyat. There is no clarity on that. Foreign Secretary
but we
level
cancelled
talks
our Foreign
were earlier
Secretary
announced,
level
but
talks.
stopped unilaterally. So I'm just coming to the point. Just give me 20 seconds more. I don't want to shout. I'm saying that there is, in New York, they stayed in the same hotel at the same summit. They didn't even wave to each other. Now they have met for 160 seconds. In Ufa, they issued a declaration.
No, what is your point?
I am saying to you, Arnab, with your abilities to hold a big microscope, please tell me and the country, what is this government's foreign policy towards Pakistan? Our officers and soldiers are dying every day on the border. We don't know whether we are talking to Pakistan, we are not talking to Pakistan.
Yeah.
Will there be structured talks? Will there not be? We meet on the sidelines,
20 seconds,
nobody
Arnab.
gives a clarification.
Yeah.
We have a declaration which is not implemented.
True.
And I say to you that the
Mr.
foreign
Verma,
minister
can I
and the
ask a
Prime
question?
Minister speak
You are a,
in
you
different
were a
Okay,
diplomat.
counter.
I want to ask you a
Therefore, what is
question.
Counter.
lacking?
Counter.
Therefore, what is lacking is a strategic
Can we-
framework, a coherence.
Can I?
Please,
No,
please
can I?
allow me a question.
No, one sec. Sambit, I will let you respond. I want to get Maroof in. I will let you respond. I want to let Maroof in.
Just 20 seconds.
No, but I
request
need
you,
to-
I request
we
you,
have an
just 20
interview with
seconds,
Nawaz
because
Sharif.
this will because Pavan has asked an important thing. It will lose its relevance. So I will request Maroof, please 20 seconds, and thereafter the floor is yours. My question to Pavan Verma is, Pavan, you are not an ordinary person. You are not just a politician. You are a diplomat as well. So you would understand all these better than anyone else in this panel. Now, please, is there a difference between climate policy and foreign policy? Should you try to mix foreign policy with climate policy? Are you not doing the same right now? We are there. 196 nations have assembled there to discuss climate policy. And we can see with the gesture that a strategy is being made. And I'm sure, though I'm not privy to what is being discussed, I'm sure that the government will come up as to what the discussions were on. When the climate has been discussed, why domestic politics has been brought in over here is my larger question to Mr. Pavan Verma, who has been a diplomat previously.
Oh, don't drag domestic politics. Maroof wants to respond. But Maroof, before you come in, Aditya Anantanarayan, our reporter in Paris, had an exclusive 3 to 4 minute conversation with Nawaz Sharif. I believe it will throw some light on what we are discussing. With your permission, may I please play the live feed coming in from Paris, please? Here it is.
सर ये बताइए कि ये 3 मीटिंगें हुई हैं, पर्टिकुलरली जो मोदी शरीफ मीटिंग हुई है, इसका सिलसिला बहुत ज़्यादा हम सुबह से आपका इंतज़ार करते हैं, उसकी क्या आपके पास रिपोर्ट है और आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे? मुफीद है, हिम्मत हौसला अफजा है पाकिस्तानी और हिंदुस्तानी अवाम के लिए?
देखें, हमें अपने मामलात को अच्छे अंदाज में आगे बढ़ाना है और पाकिस्तान जो है वो चाहता है कि तरक्की करे और पाकिस्तान चाहता है कि वो अपने मामलात को रिज़ॉल्व करे, सियासी मामलात को, दाखिली मामलात को, बैरूनी मामलात को। तो इसके लिए मेरा ख्याल है कि बातचीत का दरवाज़ा जो है वही खोलना चाहिए सब ममालिक को। आज हिंदुस्तान के साथ भी, वज़ीर-ए-आज़म हिंदुस्तान के साथ भी बात हुई, और इसी तरह से हमारी आज अफ़गानिस्तान के सदर से भी बात हुई। फिर एक ट्राईलैटरल हुई जो डेविड कैमरून साहब जो ब्रिटिश प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैं, यूके के प्राइम मिनिस्टर जो हैं, और फिर अशरफ गनी साहब के साथ, और फिर मैं भी, यानी कि तीनों हम मौजूद थे। तो ये सब मीटिंगों में अच्छी गुफ्तगू हुई है, अच्छी बातें हुई हैं और अच्छे जज्बात का इजहार हुआ है। और हम अपना अच्छे जज्बात अगर रखते हैं तो उन पे फिर हमें अमल भी करना चाहिए, उनको अमल में लाना चाहिए। तो अब ये कोशिश करेंगे कि ये बातचीत का सिलसिला आगे बढ़े और आगे चले।
शरीफ साहब, आपने कहा था कि आप स्टेटमेंट
वज़ीर-ए-आज़म में खास तौर पर उनका क्या, किस तरह की आपकी उनसे गुफ्तगू हुई है, उस पर पाकिस्तान के हिंदुस्तान दोनों अवाम जानना चाहते हैं।
अच्छी गुफ्तगू हुई है और अच्छे अंदाज में हुई है, अच्छे माहौल में हुई है, और उनकी तरफ से भी इस बात का इजहार किया गया है कि हमें अपने मामलात को आगे बढ़ाना चाहिए, और हमारी तरफ से भी यही अपना ख्वाहिश है। तो मेरा ख्याल है कि जब दोनों तरफ ख्वाहिश है तो फिर मामलात आगे ना बढ़ें तो ये फिर मुनासिब नहीं
शरीफ
है।
साहब, क्या पाकिस्तान टॉक्स ऑन टेरर के लिए तैयार है इंडिया के साथ? इंडिया ने बोला है कि टॉक्स होंगे तो टेरर पे होंगे, बट आपने कहा प्री कंडीशंस नहीं होने चाहिए।
नहीं, हमारी आपस में क्या गुफ्तगू हुई, मैं उस पर डिवेल नहीं करना
सर,
चाहता।
इन फ्यूचर के लिए
हवाले से क्या बात की है सर? मोदी को कश्मीर के हवाले से, प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी को पाकिस्तान का जो
सारी बातें ना एक वो हो सकती हैं थोड़े से मीटिंग में, और ना ही अपना, मेरा ख्याल है कि मुझे ये हक पहुंचता है कि जो हमारी आपस में बात हुई है वो मैं दुनिया भर में नशर
काफी सिग्निफिकेंट था आज के आपने और मोदी जी ने हैंडशेक करा, साथ में मिलकर बात करा। सर, क्या एक होप है कि इन फ्यूचर भी शायद आप लोगों की बातचीत हो सकती है?
फिर बात।
शरीफ साहब, एक सवाल इंडियन मीडिया के लिए बता दीजिए, क्या होप्स हैं इंडिया पाकिस्तान का डायलॉग आगे बढ़ने के लिए आज की मीटिंग के बाद?
ये उम्मीद तो बहुत है, कोशिश करेंगे इंशाल्लाह।
सर, टॉक्स ऑन टेरर के लिए पाकिस्तान तैयार है?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please.
Okay. No, that's. I think Aditi. I think it's pretty clear now. It's not on. Come on, Sambit. It's not on climate. Maroof, it's pretty clear. You see, if you listen to Nawaz Sharif there, they're not discussing climate change. He said we are talking about siyasi mamla. Maroof, what's the translation of that?
Arnab?
No, 1 second, Sambit. 1 second, Sambit. Maroof, what do you make of this whole conversation with Nawaz Sharif? Yeah.
Arnab, if the three distinguished debaters would kindly give me just 2 minutes. The first point I wish to make is leaders of countries and world leaders have found occasion in the past also, more recently Obama and Putin on the sidelines of big summits to try and come to some kind of a working arrangement at a policy level which can then be followed up by their staff. And Obama and Putin are right now, pretty much rivals on Syria.
Yeah.
So right now we have a relationship with Pakistan, has been rightly brought out by people, which is strained. And the problem for Nawaz Sharif is, and for Mr. Modi is, the devil is in the details, the devil is in the implementation, as we saw post-UFA. I also agree with Mr. Pavan Verma that this meeting looks like an unstructured meeting, but was clearly structured at some stage from backdoor diplomacy. Otherwise,
Maroof,
why in New York at the 70th summit of the UN, they found time not to meet each other? So that's the first question.
Okay. Now let's go back to the subject. Maroof, sorry to interrupt you there, but I think the debate is wide open after that conversation with Nawaz Sharif. Please complete your point. Okay, Mr. Kesavan, I'm coming to you. I see your hand go up there.
Arnab, give me a minute. Arnab, okay.
Let Maroof ji finish.
Sir, I requested all the speakers for 2 minutes.
Sure.
My first point is that this meeting was not completely unstructured. There was an agenda which had been worked out quietly. But the only thing was that this was also for the international audience, because they could have met quietly somewhere else and taken the discussion forward. This is to convey a message to their detractors or whatever. Nawaz Sharif is desperately fighting to get back to the high ground in Pakistan's politics. The complete agenda has been taken over by the army chief, Raheel Sharif. So he wants to show that he's pretty much in charge and he should be the man India should be talking to. And the Indian government, many in the Indian government currently, and Mr. Patra can contradict me on that, but apparently believe the best way forward is to talk to Nawaz Sharif and nobody else. The third point I wish to make is that the flip-flops have happened by both political parties in India, but Nawaz Sharif in the last 1 year has done a number of flip-flops. He has been going in the international forums and asking to internationalize the Kashmir issue, which goes against the gain of bilateral talks and a bilateral relationship. He's been again and again trying to put pressure on India with a combination of military and diplomatic measures so that India comes to the talking table. So the bottom line is that Nawaz needs to talk to India more. Then India needs to talk to Nawaz. Such meetings are not going to be groundbreakers.
But the question, one second.
They're just a signal.
One second.
They're just a signal that needs to come.
Maroof, as I have to take a 2-minute break, I'll start with you, Mr. Kesavan, when I come back. The question tonight is, Mr. Kesavan, the apprehension of a compromise. The Congress party going to town saying, we apprehend a compromise. The circumstances are not right. So when I come back, I'll go back to that issue with Sambit Patra, Mr. Kesavan and Pavan Verma. Is the Congress the right party to be apprehending a compromise by the Modi government vis-a-vis Pakistan? Back in just 2 minutes, only 2 minutes, don't go away. Now, that's the meeting that has got everyone talking. Just 160 seconds. You can't break the ice. You can't compromise in 160 seconds. But then Nawaz Sharif out there talking to Aditya Anantanarayan did talk about the fact that siyasi mamlo par baat hui. In other words, talks about bringing the countries together. Didn't go into detail on terror on Kashmir. But the fact is, he spoke about the need for Pakistan and India to move ahead with to resolve issues. So that was not about climate, clearly. I mean, that was at least coming from Nawaz. A first intervention from Mr. Kesavan, I think, is coming back, leaping back into the debate. Mr. Kesavan, yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Kindly don't interrupt me. All I want is, you saw the interview of Mr. Nawaz Sharif.
Yeah.
It was anything but climate. It was, see, I tell you, the problem is, see, everybody wants India's interest, regardless of government, but the problem is this government is being duped and deceived by the, I repeat, Machiavellian machinations of the Pakistan government. Let me be straight with you. What you see here is, Pakistan is engaged in schizophrenic grandstanding. On October
What is Machiavellian about this?
A 4-point formula. No, it's Machiavellian because they draw India into a talk and embarrass you. And
no, but where have we compromised?
And we concede.
No, but where have we compromised? No, what is there? No, what is there? No, again, Mr. Kesavan.
In UFA, you have lost.
No, okay, Maroof countering first. Maroof is countering.
Don't interrupt me.
Maroof is countering. It's not an interruption, it's a counter.
Mr. Kesavan, Mr. Kesavan. Mr. Kesavan, with respect to you and your party, Mr. Kesavan, Mr. Kesavan, with respect, Mr. Kesavan, with respect to you and your party,
sir, kindly,
Mr. Kesavan,
make my statement, you can respond.
Mr. Kesavan,
no. Sir, Arnab, you're not being fair to the Congress
party. No, but he's countering you, for God's sake, he can counter you. He has to counter you.
How can you counter before I make my point?
But you understood your point.
I am saying Pakistan is indulging in schizophrenic grandstanding.
You've made your point. You've made your point.
Okay, fine, you made your point.
No, today in Malta he said it's about no conditions. Today he's coming and saying it's about Siachen.
He's not mentioned Siachen here. Don't make it up.
He goes around and just speaks whatever he wants.
Who mentioned Siachen?
He said 3 different things in a month.
Okay, Mr. Kesavan, now close. Maroof.
No, Arnab, I just want to tell Mr. Kesavan with respect. The fact is, Mr. Kesavan, at UFA, for all the faults of the BJP that you may wish to bring out, you have to give credit where it's due. At UFA, they pulled off a joint statement, which I am sorry past governments have not been able to pull off, which was clearly such an embarrassment to Nawaz and Sartaj Aziz that they eventually backed out from implementing the details, which is the NSA level talks. What did the statement say? Where was it a giveaway for India? It was completely a compromise for Pakistan, which is what Nawaz Sharif was dragged through the fire for by his media and his army. So let's not just criticize for the sake
Sambit
of
Patra and
criticizing.
Pavan Verma.
No, you're
Sambit wanted to counter. I get Sambit and Pavan now, please. No, Mr. Kesavan, Mr. Pavan Verma has not spoken. Sambit.
How do
I come in only if Mr. Kesavan?
Sambit, now please.
I can make my point heard.
Mr. Kesavan, relent. I get Sambit Patra on the debate. Mr. Kesavan, we did not compromise. We sent the right message when we said it would be unacceptable if Pakistan chose to meet the Hurriyat. If we said, Mr. Kesavan, I have my own view on issues. You have a problem? Mr. Kesavan, you have a problem? I have my views on this. I'm saying we didn't compromise. We sent the right message when we said it would be unacceptable if Pakistan chose to meet the Hurriyat during UFA talks and or tried to include Kashmir within the ambit of the discussions for the NSA talks. That was not a compromise. Sambit Patra, Sambit and Pavan Verma. Yeah.
See, as far as the Congress is concerned, Mr. Kesavan was mentioning about the schizophrenic grandstanding of Pakistan. Well, if he has brought in a psychiatric disorder, let me tell very
no personal comments
over here that the Congress no, not to Kesavan, to the Congress party, that the Congress party suffers from obsessive compulsive disorder. You know, they have to take a stand.
Nothing personal.
For the sake of opposition. About Pakistan and the Bihar elections. Amit Shah brought in Pakistan and the Bihar elections. You talk about, you go and take a hard look at yourself.
Mr. Kesavan,
bringing domestic politics in Pakistan.
Kesavan, be tolerant to others' views as well. We were not interjecting.
You learn to speak a civil language first. Learn to speak in a civil language and talk about tolerance. You don't give homage to civil language.
All right, Mr. Kesavan, pull back Pavan Verma.
If you're obnoxious, people are seeing it.
Just a second. Obsessive compulsive disorder of the Congress party is absolute civil language and the reality. Remember when the Pak boat laden with ammunition was crossing crossing to Indian territory, you are the ones who made a hoopla out of it as to why action was taken against the Pak boat providing oxygen to Pakistan. When the talks were called off, let me remind you, Mr. Goswami, let me show the mirror to Congress. Last time after UFA, when the Pakistani dispensation had a press conference saying that we would like to meet the Hurriyat conference, we would like to discuss Kashmir, before even Sushma Swaraj made a statement, before even Sushma Swaraj came out for a press conference, Arnab Sharma had a press conference. The Congress party held a press conference accusing the Indian government of having said
Pavan Verma.
Please listen to the reason as to why I tell this.
Pavan Verma, last comment from Pavan Verma. Pavan Verma only, please.
You are in the government in Kashmir and PDP.
Pavan Verma. Okay, Mr. Kesavan, Mr. Verma, Mr. Kesavan, we tolerate. Pavan Verma, last word from Pavan Verma. Only last word from Pavan Verma. Pavan Verma, where is the compromise? For God's sake, where is the compromise? This fear of a compromise, Pavan Verma. Where is the compromise, Pavan Verma?
Why Nitish Kumar was in Pakistan. Nitish Kumar went to Pakistan meeting every leader in Pakistan. And today they are preaching us.
Yes, he did. No, Sambit, the problem is that your understanding is simplistic and impulsive. Nobody is saying don't talk to Pakistan. All I am saying is, and I would be the last person to allege that the Prime Minister of India would willfully come into any compromise with another country. Let's maintain our sense of balance. I have only made the point that whatever this government does, or any government does, must be embedded as part of a considered strategic framework.
Okay.
It cannot be ad hocism. And we have seen too much.
No, how can you speculate?
Impulsive ad hocism
Mr. Verma, how can you speculate when the things are not in black and blue?
Sambit, I did not interrupt you. Sambit, I did not interrupt you.
Sorry.
You yourself have been asking for tolerance, whatever your past track record in this matter. So therefore I am saying that when you had an interview just now shown by Mr. Nawaz Sharif, very clearly is saying that the subject was not climate change. I wish they spoke about climate change. I am not against their consultations on climate change. But it was an scheduled meeting on the sidelines where obviously the subject was bilateral relations. I am very happy for it.
Right.
All I'm saying is that we have seen too much of ad hocism with this government while our officers and soldiers are dying on the border. Where is the policy to Pakistan?
I wish I could have an unscheduled, scheduled question with you, Pavan Verma. But my time is up and I have a big debate on VVIP racism on the other side. I thank you all, including Mr. Kesavan, Mr. Sambit Patra, Maroof Raza and you, Pavan Verma, for joining me on a very timely conversation on what happened in Paris today. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.